What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Business Beavers podcast. I'm your host, Cody Smith. Joined alongside me is Mark Brisbois. Today, we're going to be talking about habits for success. So let's jump right into it, and make sure if you like this episode, hit that subscribe button.
Mark Brisbois.
That was very quiet.
Yeah, it's been an emotional morning.
Has it really?
It has.
Oh.
I found out you almost bled to death. Your finger.
That's true. Just for people who are listening that don't know me, I am renovating my bathroom right now, and I cut my finger. And it sounds like I'm not a bitch.
I wasn't there to suck the venom out, which is a shame.
That's why I bled so much. That's why it hurt so much. You were up early, though, this morning, weren't you?
I wake up. Weekdays, I wake up at 4. Weekends, I give myself a treat, and I wake up at 6.
Oh, so you sleep in a little bit.
On the weekends.
Oh, okay.
Exclusively.
All right. Well, I mean, that's basically going to jump into our first topic. So today on episode 2, we're going to talk about habits that are going to lead to success. And getting up early is one of them.
So I got to take this episode to heart because nothing I've done in my life is successful.
but you're going to school. You're waking up early.
Yeah.
I feel like you accomplished a lot.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, getting up early, getting that flow going, people always say wake up and do something productive. So the way, as soon as I get up, I'm waking up and I'm making my bed. What do you, but Mark disagrees with this.
This is where we disagree. I feel like I wake up, I have a coffee, I read the news.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can do both. Obviously, I'm not saying you can't, wake up, have a coffee, make your bed, read the news, and be productive. I just don't see how it benefits me. I don't feel that. I guess is it a placebo effect where
basically, so if you get up in the morning and within the first 5 minutes you make your bed, you've already accomplished something and checked something off on your list of to-dos, right? So basically, it's the mental mindset of you've woken up, you've already done something and accomplished something before anyone else has. And it kind of gives you that alpha mindset to kind of roll into the day. And then you can, go to the gym, crush out a hard workout. And then anything after that.
It's no big fucking deal.
Mark works out every day.
I really do.
For all the single ladies out there, he is single.
I am desperate.
Yeah. He's about 6'1". What are you, 220, 225?
We're editing this up. We are absolutely
No, I'm keeping that in.
No, you're not.
Come on. Who edits these shows?
Don't do this to me.
Okay, but going because we get off topic very, very easily.
We do.
So
I think we both have ADHD.
absolutely,
I think,
absolutely,
it's bad.
yeah. We're doing a podcast together. Okay, but so waking up, getting into the gym, do you find that helps clear your mind, or is it something that you overcome to kind of, nothing's going to be harder than working out in the next coming hours or in that day?
I work out, and when I first started working out, I started in high school, so it's not like I had to go to the gym because phys ed was mandatory.
Right.
So I go to phys ed, and I mean, I'm not like Usain Bolt, but I'm athletic. I've been athletic. I'm 20.
You're healthy.
Now. I've been athletic for a decade and a half, at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to do it because I was in high school, and then I realized I kind of like it, and I've been lifting weights on and off. Recently, especially for the better part of 6-7 years.
But have you always been getting up and going to the gym early?
No.
Me neither. I mean, I used to go to the gym 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and then I was wondering why I was coming home and having such a hard time falling asleep, and I'd be staying up till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Because for me, the endorphins running through my body, got me hyped up. I was tired. My body was tired, but my brain was just 90 miles a minute.
Yeah, for me, I work out not because, I do feel like I've accomplished something after I work out, but I especially do it now because it makes, they've done studies, being active, being healthy, you'll live longer, and I want to live a longer life. I don't know about you.
Right, and more time equals more money, by the way.
That's true, but you don't want to work until you're 80.
No. No, you do not.
No, you don't.
You don't want to be lifting bundles and going up a roof or, doing plumbing when you're 80, because you
I
probably won't
actually-
be able to bend over.
I will probably have people doing that for me. I will.
See, there
I
you go.
want to own my own business.
See, and that's
Or-
that's another topic that
Or
we're getting
just
off of.
Be a foreman and fucking delegate because I'm just cool like that.
Okay, well, edit one.
Oh, yeah. So no, I mean working out. I do feel like I've accomplished something.
But you don't make your bed in the morning
no I
at
don't.
all.
No,
Do you make it at all throughout the day?
I will make my bed when I have company coming over.
Okay. So you find mentally waking up in the morning. Can we do a test here? Can we try something?
Yeah, man.
In the next couple weeks, every day when you get up, can you make your bed?
I'll do it for
And
you.
I just want to see what happens. I just want to see if it's a scientific study here. And you know what? In the next couple episodes, we'll come back to this.
Well, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna have a neater bed, and that's it. Nothing else is gonna
Hey,
change.
it might. We'll see. We're gonna prove my theory here
If I
and
win
see
the
if Mark's
fucking- if I
mindset
win the
completely
fucking
changes.
lottery from making my bed, I will credit.
I'm
you.
not gonna say you're gonna win the lottery,
I will credit you.
but you might feel better. You might get more done in the day.
feel good. I mean, I get a lot done now.
What if you got more done and was more productive?
No, I actually feel like there has to be a balance because I think I don't want to pull something out of my ass, but I've read studies where the most productive a person is from the morning to like the afternoon, and then from like the afternoon. Sorry, it's my phone.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
From the afternoon to the evening, they've realized that people just aren't as productive. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
So honestly,
So the morning is the most productive.
Talking about I'm just trying to get all these stuff done and cram it all in, but you're not at your best. Like I mean,
Agreed.
Typically, I mean, you will have that like outlier where somebody can be like a top performer like all day, every day,
Right.
and not break.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they always say to get your hardest thing done in the morning because that's when you're most clear-headed. What's the word I'm looking for?
Motivated.
Cognitive thinking is more like more critical thinking is higher, so you can problem solve a lot better early in the morning. So if you wake up early, you have more of that window to be able to problem solve and be more productive, right? So
Yeah.
that's why they always say getting up at 4, 5, even 6 o'clock. One thing I read The Miracle Morning, and his name is Hal Elrod. Yes. Okay, so The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I started reading that. I'll be honest with you, I didn't get all the way through it. I basically took key notes from it and tried to implement it into my life. So I was waking up at about 7:30, quarter to 8 maybe, years ago. And, going a year and a half ago maybe. And I read this book, and he basically said, get up in the morning around 5, 4 o'clock, as early as you can, and work out, have a peaceful morning, eat breakfast, drink coffee, do yoga, stretch, read a book, whatever the case may be, whatever kind of levels you. So I tried it, and I tried it for a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months going in, and then COVID hit. But I found two things. I found I was really productive in the morning, and I got a lot of stuff done. But I also found jumping from waking up at 7:30, quarter to 8, and then waking up at 4:30 in the morning, just like that cold turkey kind of flip.
It's hard.
It was very, very hard.
Yeah. That's
So-
what I had to do.
Yeah, and whether your body gets used to it or not, I don't really know. Mine didn't. So I found for me personally, it was easier, especially when COVID hit and I wasn't waking up as early. So I kind of weaned myself into it. So I'd wake up an hour earlier and for, a couple months and kind of have my body regulate to that. And then once I felt fine waking up then, I would do another hour. So now my alarm goes off at 5 and I'm already up wide awake, and I feel great. Like I feel it's easy to wake up, right? Where even if I was waking up at 7:30 most mornings, I didn't want to get out of bed. So
I think to dogpile on what you're saying, I think equally, getting a good night's sleep, getting a long, restful night's sleep is just as important as, waking up, making your bed, having a coffee, going to the gym. All these things it's futile if you're too tired to do them. So
you need sleep.
If
Sleep
everyone
is.
could just get 8 hours of sleep right now, that'd be great.
Now, do you think 8 hours of sleep is
Minimum.
suffice?
Yeah, that's the sweet
Minimum.
spot. Minimum. Yeah, I'm not. I think
That was
you
6 to 8 for adults,
you
like
can-
somewhere in that middle.
Well, our listeners are adults.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
If
I
you
guess
want to
8.
Google it like right now, like what's the average?
No, I trust you. I have faith in Dr. Mark.
This is why it's why I go to bed at 8 p.m.
Oh, because you wake up before, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's
And
fair.
it sucks because I'll get teased. Oh, you're such an old man.
Yeah.
It's like I'm up before you, so
Yeah.
bite me.
Well, even me going to bed at 10 o'clock, like, I'll be sitting there and, I like to relax at the end of the night playing video games. And
Do you play video games and then try to go to bed right after, or do you give yourself 50 minutes?
sometimes I have learned that you cannot do that because your
Yeah.
brain will not shut down.
Yes.
You will be wired and you won't be able to fall
Plus
asleep.
because you're staring at a screen and it's just it's stimulating your mind.
Yeah, and something with the blue hues that
Oh,
come from the
fuck, yeah,
screen.
it's
Something. So case in point, wake up early, and Mark's gonna start making his bed, and his mom's gonna be really happy that if she's listening to this.
Are you implying I live with my parents?
Does your mom come over to your house?
Not often.
No, my parents don't come over to my house either. Actually. Wow. Let's jump into the planning. Yeah.
This is interesting because I actually do kind of want to talk about it.
What?
I don't like.
You want to talk?
I'll let everyone into my life a little bit. I'm a student right now, so I'm back at school. So for me, I don't have a planner.
Oh, like a schedule?
Yeah, is that what we're talking about?
I was just talking about planning goals.
Oh fuck. Okay.
But we can definitely talk about scheduling because that is a huge one.
Yeah, scheduling.
Okay, let's jump into scheduling.
Yeah, I will let you know personally. I think it's I don't know. Writing it down has never helped me. Elementary school, high school.
Yeah.
First getting my degree and then going back to Mohawk. Writing it down just doesn't help.
Like writing down what you have to get done in the
Yeah.
next coming day or week or so?
Well, especially because now with school, with everything being online because of COVID.
Right.
I go on my Canvas, I log in, and I can just click on the calendar and it tells me what to do already.
Oh, so you already have somebody planning something for you.
Yeah.
But what about a day-to-day aside from school? Like, do you have
No.
any kind of planning?
No.
Okay.
It's all in my head because going back to, waking up, having a routine,
Right.
it cuts the middleman of, oh man. Okay, so, I don't, if you have to write down, what you want to do tomorrow, why?
Well, okay, so it's not necessarily you have to write things down. I learned from a really successful guy a couple months ago because he was really heavy into scheduling, and he would schedule everything down to 15 minutes in his day.
Oh, that's...
So here, there's pros and cons to this.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure.
There's a lot of pros where you know what you're gonna do, you know how your day is already laid out. So he would lay out things like, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna eat breakfast at this time, I'm going to spend a half hour with my kids before I go to work. Then I go to work, and he's got another schedule for that. So his appointments, studying for anything, learning, and then when he comes home, he's like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna eat dinner with my family. Spend a little bit of quality time, and then I'm gonna do a bunch of research for. He was a real estate agent. He's gonna do a bunch of research for real estate, answer some emails, and then go to bed and do it all over again.
But so my feeling is, and it's not so much indifferent to having a routine, but the difference between having a routine and having a scheduled routine means you're a slave to it.
Only if you want to be.
Well, of course.
Because
that's just a given.
You can schedule yourself out to where, you have relaxation time and you don't feel pressured and stressed and stuff like that. But it takes a lot of skill and it's a skill.
You think skill or practice?
Well, it's basically the same thing because to have a skill, you need to practice it, right? So, for a lot of people, they micro set goals, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, but if you're like, oh, I gotta be here in the next 15 minutes, but I'm doing this, then you're gonna be stressed out because now you're running late.
Yeah, you're giving yourself like anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons and kind of have to realize that if I schedule 15 minutes to sit down and talk with somebody and it goes 16 minutes or 20 minutes, you can't feel stressed out because now you're running behind to go, eat dinner with your family or, go back to the office to start studying because you have a test to do or something, right? Like, to micromanage yourself, you're just going to stress yourself out even more. And the schedule's not going to work for you, right? Yeah. But I think it's helpful to keep consistency. So for you, for instance, for being in school, if you have a test coming up, instead of cramming the night before...
I've never done that anyways.
No? A lot of people do, though. And I think it's because everyone's like, oh, I can do it tomorrow. I'll have a bunch of time tomorrow. So scheduling really helps people that procrastinate kind of put everything into perspective, right?
I don't think it does. I think... I don't know if we'll edit this out or not, but above the podcast, there's a great video that there's like this procrastinator who's like extremely successful, that he has severe procrastination, and he developed a system to like work around it. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but
like a scheduling system?
I don't think so. It had like millions of views.
What was it, a TED Talk?
It might have been.
Yeah?
It might have been a TED Talk. I can't quite remember.
I'll have to see if I can find it. Maybe we can post it in the description.
We're in the Facebook group.
Yeah, see?
Now we're making money, boy.
So I want to touch on setting goals because I'm really interested to share this with you and everybody else listening.
Yeah.
Do you know who Gary Vee is?
Oh my god, I don't like that guy.
You don't like him?
I don't.
No? Okay.
I know who exactly you're talking
about.
Yeah? He's got a we might edit this out. He has like a Polish last name. He's like Wojciech or something.
Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Vaynerchuk, okay.
Yeah. Okay, well. So I heard from him. I was listening to one of his podcasts, and he was saying basically people who set goals for, let's say, weeks coming up or, next week or something like that. So I'm guilty of this. Right now I'm in the process of getting my real estate license for people who don't know. And I'll set a goal for myself and say, hey, I'm going to get through 20 hours of school content by next Monday. And to me, as I'm progressing through that goal, I find if I'm not going to hit my deadline, I don't necessarily shut down, but like my anxiety peaks and like I start freaking out. My stress levels get high and I'm like, holy shit, like I'm not going to hit this goal. I'm a failure.
Do you think it's because when you set goals like that, you're not living in the moment? You're more like you're number crunching instead of like looking at the page, we're thinking on what it's saying, taking down notes and whatnot.
Oh, exactly. And so now when I was studying, trying to hit those goals, I'm clicking through the slides, looking at, because at the bottom it goes, your slide 22 out of 43. So then I would like click through the slides and a power reading, and I would look down. I'm like, oh my God, I'm only at 24 out of 43. I got to go faster. Like, so it's a lot of pressure when you set micro goals.
Yeah.
So when I was listening to this podcast, he's like, people who set micro goals you're just going to burn yourself out and stress yourself out. Because you're thinking not in the moment, you're not enjoying the process of getting to that point.
I agree with that.
So when I heard this, mind you, it was only a couple days ago, I listened to that and I took a step back and I was like, okay, let me readjust my goals and see how I feel. So basically, you take your goals and go, where do you want to be in 10, 15, 20 years from now? And a lot of people don't know, but let's just hypothetically throw in a scenario here where Mark's going to school for plumbing. So let's say in 20 years, you want to have your own business. You want to have people under you that work for you. And you can kind of, run your business and manage the business while other people work for you. And, you can kind of do quoting and sit back and not have to worry about your body. Right?
Yeah.
But so if you take a look at that and you're like, okay, well, I need to go to school and get my license and learn, and then I'll, enjoy the process and work towards that. But now if you retook that goal and was like, okay, well, now I want to get my license for plumbing in 6 months. I want to work for 6 months. I want to start my own business in the next 6 months after that.
Oh, it's not gonna happen
And then
like that.
like I have a test coming up, so like I need to crush this test, and I need to do this. I need to know everything, and I need to learn everything so quickly. You can see how things start kind of piling up on you and snowball, and it becomes such a bigger reality than it actually is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I have to be an apprentice for. I have to put in 3,000 or like 8,000 hours before I become a journeyman.
Yeah, so
Which
if
is nuts.
So if you were to look at 8,000 hours and you're like, oh my God, that seems like such a big number. But then you look at a goal of 20 years and go, okay, well, I'm going to own my own business. I'm going to enjoy the process of getting to that point.
I don't think it is 8,000 hours. That would be insane.
Probably. It sounds about, yeah, maybe,
Think so?
maybe a couple years. But do you know what I mean, though? Like, don't micromanage yourself because it's just going to stress you out. Just enjoy the process, enjoy what you do, and set those goals that you want to kind of have down the road. And fuck, like if you want to buy a plumbing company that's worth $10 million, you can do it. Just set that goal and just, work your way slowly at it, but don't micromanage yourself.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Cool. What else we got going on tap today? Feeling uncomfortable. I do like this one.
Go on. Yeah.
Come on!
No, I don't lead into it. I don't know where. I don't even know where to start.
No?
Feeling like okay.
We're doing something right now that I felt very, very uncomfortable doing.
No.
And Mark was like, hey, we should start a podcast.
It's fun, guys.
It's fun. Everybody can do it.
I hope your ears didn't break.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? No, we got an auto-tune to this, so. No, so when, I hated
things
talking
you're
in the
not
mic.
familiar with.
Yeah, that make you completely uncomfortable.
Feeling uncomfortable and doing things you're not comfortable with are two different things.
Step outside the box.
Okay. When does school make you uncomfortable? Or it's because like you went through like elementary, high school, and then college or university was like, it's no big fucking deal.
Okay, I should rephrase. If you feel uncomfortable and you're like, hey, I don't want to go talk to that person, or I don't want to do a YouTube video because I hate the way I look.
Or I'd be embarrassed.
Or you're embarrassed. Yeah, what if I get a bad comment or something like that? People are too fucking worried about whatever everybody else thinks.
That is fucking ferocious.
Yeah, but I was the same way. When you told me, hey, let's do a podcast, I'm like, I don't want to hear my own voice. I don't know what to talk about. What the hell are we going to talk about? And what if someone, like one of our friends or parents or family members, listens to it and goes, these guys are stupid. Like, that's such a stupid idea. You're never going to make it. You're never going to be successful with it. Who fucking cares?
Testify, brother.
Right? But you know what I mean? So many people think that way. And we just kind of jumped into it and was like, fuck everybody else.
It's a leap of faith, buddy.
But what if your mom came up to you and was like, hey, like, what you guys are doing is stupid. You're wasting your time. You should probably just focus on school.
I mean, you met my mother.
I know. Sorry, I should not point out your mom. But
yeah,
okay, what if
somebody close to me said that?
What if a good friend came up to you and was like, "Hey, you're wasting your time on this podcast. You should probably just focus on being in school and getting your plumbing license." And
who that friend is, because I know
like a really good friend that has always supported you, and then all of a sudden was just like, "Hey, threw a wrench."
I'd be hurt, but I wouldn't.
Would you stop?
No, I wouldn't stop. I might stop being their friend.
Fair enough.
But I wouldn't stop doing what I would. The only way I could see myself stop doing this is, external, grief, or there's like strife in my personal life, or like school is getting overwhelming, which it is, and I'm on top of everything. Thank you very fucking much.
88? So a life-changing event basically would have to happen.
Yeah. Like completely life-changing. Like
yeah.
I can think of maybe like 3 things off the top of my head that would make me like I need to take a break.
Okay, I have a couple moments, but for you, is there a moment in your life that you've looked at going back and have gone, well, I felt really uncomfortable doing this, but I'm glad I did it?
Yeah, there's a few. going back to school for one thing.
Yeah.
Going back to Mohawk. I'm just pulling the curtains back a little bit. I was at your house, and I think it was you or your girlfriend who said, "Oh, you should get into plumbing." And
Oh, it was Briar.
it was Briar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of thought about it. I mean, I've been a laborer at a roofing company. We won't specify which one. I've been a laborer at a roofing company, and I didn't like what I was doing there.
But you wanted to do your own thing.
I did.
Right.
I did want to do my own thing, and I like working with my body. I know myself. I'm good at taking notes, but even like now, like in school, because half the classes are online.
Right.
So.
Did you feel uncomfortable going back to school? Like, were you nervous at all?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I was more nervous about, like the people there are gonna like know more than I do. I went there and like no shit, like my partner was just as clueless as I was about plumbing and what.
Well, that's why you're in school, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like I went there and like the majority of even now like some of my fellow students aren't on top of their work. Like our professor sent an email and he goes, "So I've seen some of you guys haven't done like your modules or assignments." I'm like, oh my gosh, like why?
It's so easy.
It is. Well, it is
Yeah.
easy. So long as you're on top of everything and you're consistent with your work, you're gonna be fine. There was just something. So this is for all those procrastinators out there, because I used to be one. I learned to develop a non-negative day. Now,
Interesting.
So a non-negative day would be, because for somebody who used to procrastinate very, very heavily, you would have an assignment in like 2 weeks, let's say, and it was a big assignment, and you would go, "Oh, I'm gonna just crush it out," and then the day would pass, you didn't do anything. The next day would pass, you didn't do anything, because it's 2 weeks away. It's
right.
12 days away. I'm fine. I've got time.
Shit, it's the night before.
Right, the night before. So a non-negative day would be, let's say instead of an assignment, you're looking for a job, but you're still a procrastinator. Just call up, like type in, like open your computer, turn it on, and just type like indeed.ca, and just like leave the page open. And
okay.
Right there, that's a non-negative day. You did something.
Oh, okay. So you're working towards something.
So then the next day, the page is up. You just search a job, and then you like the next day look already.
So building blocks.
Building blocks, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, it's very simplistic, and not everyone is that bad of a procrastinator.
Right.
But it helps, man.
But like one extreme to another. I mean, you could. Work a little bit farther than just opening up a web page, right?
I agree,
yeah. So, but I get where you're going at.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So, for me, I've always wanted to be a public speaker. Absolutely hate public speaking.
But you're good at it.
I'm terrified to stand up in front of people. I took a marketing class where we had to public speak, basically, like present things in front of the class of business plans and models and marketing plans. And I remember me and my team put together a marketing campaign for a company that took lavender and put it into drinks. And I'm not getting off topic here. I do have a reason for this, but we end up presenting it in front of the class, in front of the teacher, and we were the top 3 to present it in front of the actual company. So the company actually came into the college, and we sat in the auditorium. And I mean, there had to be 60, 70 people, because it was, the business, classmates, other teachers, other faculty, right? So there's quite a few people in there. And I remember I was sweating. Like, I was terrified. I was shaking. And one of my classmates was like, "Hey, like, do you want to go get a drink before we start?" And I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah." So, he brought a flask. And we're sitting there and we're taking shots of Jack Daniel. I'm like, man, I still don't feel better. Like, I am fucking terrified.
Probably didn't you think it made it worse?
I think it did at the end of it. Like, looking back at it, I probably did. And I remember getting up on stage and...
Were you, like, shaking?
Oh, like, if they couldn't see me shaking, I was wearing baggy clothes or something. Because, like, I was just shaking in my skeleton. Like, it was bad, right? So I get up there and I was the last one to go. So I'm standing there, and I'm like,
I can feel your own nerves.
Yeah, like I can feel my palms are sweating.
Knees weak, arms are heavy.
Yeah, mom spaghetti or something. And finally, it comes to my part, and I'm silent. And I'm like, fuck, where do I start? And I got these cue cards sitting in my hand, and I'm looking down, and I'm like, okay, you just got to say the words. And I remember just reading. Like, I just looked at the cue cards. I didn't even look at the audience. I just read exactly what was on the cue cards, and it was the most embarrassing thing of life. We didn't end up getting picked for whatever reason. I'm not going to say it was because of me, but it might have been.
Oh, man.
And I remember that day, I'm like, fuck, like it was the most uncomfortable feeling in the world. I never in my life.
I had those, yeah.
And yet, still to this day, I'm like, I'm going to be a public speaker. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to get up in front of an audience, and I'm going to make myself feel uncomfortable until I feel comfortable.
I think you would draw a lot of inspiration from Roman orators.
Say who?
Roman orators, people who would they would public speak.
Yeah.
Whether they were like lawyers or politicians or whatnot, I drew a lot of inspiration from a guy called Marcus Tullius Cicero.
Okay.
Who was an extremely talented orator, so much so that when he was finally killed by his enemies, they cut out his tongue because his tongue was like such a ferocious weapon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. But going back to feeling uncomfortable and kind of putting yourself into those positions where you step out of the box. When I'm still in the process of getting my license, but even at the very beginning, I told myself, like, if we're going to make this venture, you have to step out of the boundaries and really kind of like just go full throttle. So I remember before I even got my license, I'm like, I'm just going to reach out to people that are successful. And what's the worst that they're going to say? Like, sorry, I don't have time to talk to you, or they're not going to answer the phone at all. And I remember I went into an office downtown, and super successful real estate agent, business guy. I'm like, fuck, I'm just going to walk into his office and be like, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I just want to pick your brain. And he actually wasn't at the office, but I ended up talking to one of his colleagues. And basically at the end of it, he's like, once you get your license, he's like, come see me. He's like, I'll have a job there for you.
Wow. And
I found it so weird because every office that I went to was basically saying the same thing. It was, they were like, we don't usually reach out to people. We have, we'll put a job posting out there, but we look for people that have initiative to like step into the office and go, hey, like, I'm here, I'm in front of you. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm looking to do. What can you offer me? And that's what these people are looking for. No, but like that, it just goes to show, like, stepping outside the box, even when you feel uncomfortable. Just for me, I hated public speaking, and I wasn't a huge fan of getting in front of people that I didn't know. But just to take that leap and bound will honestly pay dividends to your future.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only thing. I think that's how successful people get forward in life, right? That's it for today's episode, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Just to touch on a couple points that I may have missed and just kind of re-elaborate of today's podcast, make sure that you stay persistent with the little things that you're doing in life, whether that's getting up and making your bed, going to the gym every day, or studying every day and working towards your goals and the longevity of things. Make sure you play the long game because that's where all the success lies. Make sure also to step out of your comfort zone because when you're uncomfortable, that means that you're growing. If you like this episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tune in next week for episode 3 of Business Beavers Podcast.